Hey everyone, what's up? It's me again, back with another Path of Exile SSF video. And as you guys know, PoE 3.26 has been out for about a week now, and there's been a lot of new changes this league. So I just wanted to make this video as like a 1 week retrospective kind of thing. Basically, I've been no-lifing this game in SSF. I got 36 challenges in a week, which is like the fastest I've ever gotten it, even though the challenges were easy. But yeah, I've been no-lifing this game, so I wanted to just like share my overall like impressions on the league. I want to go over all the new stuff that was introduced this league and just give my 2 cents on it, talk about what was good, talk about what was bad, that kind of stuff. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this kind of just casual discussion video. So here I made a list of all the big new things in this league. May have missed a couple things, but whatever. So I guess we'll just go over each of these. So the first thing on the list is just Mercenaries. Mercenaries is the new Mercenaries of Trarthus League mechanic. It's like the seasonal mechanic. I think I have like mixed feelings towards Mercenaries. On one hand, I think it's cool that you get like an extra party member, but on the other hand, I think it's lame that they they don't do any damage and they increase the monster's life by 50%. So the only real way to build them is to turn them into aura bots. So that felt like, it feels like there could have been a lot more potential there. I think with a little bit more careful balancing, it could have been really fun. Like I would love to like build like a DPS merc, for instance, but it does feel like because of the way it's currently balanced around the 50% increased health thing, the only real way to use them is to basically turn them into aura bots and to like give you auras and like apply curses and stuff like that. And that felt kind of lame in my opinion. Another complaint I have from an SSF player's perspective is that in order to get a good mercenary, you need uniques, but it is kind of annoying to find uniques in SSF. So yeah, not the most SSF friendly mechanic. Another thing I don't like is that for some reason they didn't nerf the Doriani's thing. So basically anyone who's using a Doriani's merc will just have like 5 times the DPS of you if you don't have Doriani's. And that felt extremely lame. Like, like is the whole league mechanic basically just get Doriani's and like use Perquil's Toe for lucky lightning damage. So overall, I think it was a cool idea, but the balancing of it definitely seemed very off. So I'd say the Mercenaries league mechanic, maybe like a 4 out of 10. Would be like a 7 out of 10 if it was actually balanced properly. So that was my 2 cents on that. And then moving on to Secrets of the Atlas. So there's like a bunch of different things here, which we'll go over this one by one. Secrets of the Atlas is like the core game expansion. So all of these changes are basically part of the core game now. And the first is, the pinnacle bosses. See if I can pull up some footage here. Yeah, so here is just some random footage of me doing a pinnacle boss. This is the incarnation of fear. I'm playing Bone Shatter here. So yeah, in this league, I guess basically there is like 3 new pinnacle bosses. Can't remember the names of them, but in my opinion, they felt kind of. I mean, the boss fights themselves, I think, were actually pretty fun, but I didn't really understand like the purpose of them. Like every other pinnacle boss has like a purpose, like Maven, Shaper, Elder, Uber Elder, like these Exarch Eater, like these bosses are part of the core progression because they give you void stones, right? And like while the loot of them is like not that great, at least they give you like void stones, which is like a core piece of your progression. And they have like lore, like Path of Exile lore, if that's what you're interested in as well. But I definitely did feel like the new pinnacle bosses kind of just felt like, just like stuck in there. No pun intended. Like there's no like progression mechanic for these. There's no void stones. It definitely just felt like they were just randomly added just to be pinnacle bosses. I never really dropped anything good from any of these. And I felt that if I never fought any one of these, it would have made no difference to my progression. So not sure how I feel about that. I think they should at least maybe add like a new core progression mechanic. Like, I don't know if adding more void stones is good, but they could at least add like a void shard or something, like something that you can like fight the boss once and like get the thing, because currently there just isn't that. Other than that, the fights themselves are pretty okay, not very rewarding though. And then moving on, we have boss uniques here. So there's like a lot of different boss uniques that were added to the game. There's like a list somewhere online, but here I just have like a couple here that I found randomly, like Whispers of Infinity and whatever. I think some of these uniques are cool, but I didn't really find like a good way to build around any one of these. It's just that the downsides of all of these are like so severe that it just makes it very difficult to build around it. And in my experience, a lot of boss uniques are either like they have one very specific way to build them that is good. And other than that, other than like a very niche build, the new boss uniques aren't really good for anything, in my opinion. Like this Whispers of Infinity is like really good for, that one specific Forbidden Right alt quality gem. Other than that, it just kind of doesn't do very much. And then you have like other uniques that are similar as well. Like I got this cool body armor, like, I don't even know where it is anymore, but it's like a Facebreaker body armor. I don't even know where it is, but yeah, there's like a body armor that this one, like the only way to build around this is like face breakers because it's like unarmed. So there's like only one way to build around that. And there's like a bunch of random jewels as well that are just kind of whatever. And there's like a weird ring that makes a worm. I don't really know how to build around that. There's like another ring as well that gave you like poison, but like reduces your res. And that's like, maybe you can build poison around it. Anyway, what I'm saying is like a lot of the uniques seem like they have one way that's very specific to build around them. And other than that one specific build, they're just not that exciting. So I definitely feel like the uniques could have been better. Like, yeah, I think the uniques could have been better. Then moving on to boss currency. So the new bosses drop these 3 orbs here. These orbs are called Remembrance, Unraveling, and Intention. So in the entire league, I basically didn't use a single one of these. I just didn't really think it would ever be good to use. I feel like you just don't get these enough to ever justify using them. Like in the entire league, I got 36 challenges, and this is all that I dropped in SSF. You only drop these by killing the new pinnacle bosses, so they're very rare, and they just don't really do very much. This one like randomizes the memory strands, which I'll get into a little bit later. And then this one is like kind of good, but you need like a really good item to justify using this on. It like upgrades tiers, but like I got 2 of these the whole league, so like what am I gonna use it on, and like you need an item with memory strands in order for this to work as well. And by the time you crafted an item, it has no more memory strands left. So it's just a very strange currency, right? So yeah, I was not really too sure how to use this. And then there's also Orb of Intention, which is just more memory strands. I never felt the need to use this. So overall, I feel like the new currency is kind of a miss. If you got like a lot more of these, then I think it would be cool. But you just get it so infrequently and they just don't do very much. So, not a big fan of that. And then moving on to memory strands. So this was like a new league mechanic. So like when you do a T16.5 memory influenced map, or if you like, do a boss, you drop these memory strand things. And it's my understanding that memory strands are basically like, if you were to use a currency like an alchemy or like an exalt or anything that could add mods onto an item, the memory strands can be consumed to make the mods like be a higher tier. And I guess what you're supposed to do is like pick up good bases with memory strands, then craft on them. But like my main complaint with the memory strand implementation right now is that like a lot of the items that drop with memory strands are worthless bases that you would never use. So like, why would I pick up a base that is not optimal for my build? And every now and then an optimal base does drop, but then it only has like 30 memory strands and I drop an alch on it and then it has like 6 left. And then I drop like a chaos on it and it's gone. So like, I'm just not too sure what they wanted us to do with memory strands. Like I have not crafted a single good item using memory strands. And every time a memory strand item drops on the ground, I just ignore it because like 99% of the time it's useless. And even if it's an optimal base, it quickly becomes useless. And the new currency that interacts with memory strands is just too rare. So in my opinion, this memory strand system was a huge miss. Like I went through the whole league without using the mechanic one time because there was never a good opportunity to use it. So in my opinion, memory strands need a huge rework. I think there needs to be like a very common currency that allows you to put memory strands on an item of your choice. Like there needs to be like a memory exalted orb or something that slams memory strands onto an item, and it has to be like as common as like chaos orbs, and then like maybe that could be fun, or maybe like as common as an exalted orb. Because like the current implementation, I just feel like you just ignore it and that's lame. And then finally we have memory map / Egan, and Egan basically allows you to like do an atlas memory like this, and you know you can just like do these maps in a sequence and then fight the boss at the end. So this mechanic I think is actually okay. Like it gives you map sustain for free, which is really good, and I think the bosses are kind of cool. But I do have some big complaints with this problem. I see a common complaint is like you can't choose the map, but I personally feel like that's kind of okay. Like I don't mind like using it. Like I don't mind personally doing a suboptimal map maybe like 1% of the time. But my main complaint about this issue is the balance. I find that the balance is just extremely bad, and for some reason, despite the fact that everybody hated T17 mods and the community has been very, very vocal about how terrible T17 mods are, for some reason they decided to, add T17 mods into the game in more places despite the massive community backlash. Not really too sure what was going on with that decision, but as you can see, like some of these mods are just totally cancerous. Like what even are these mods? Like it's like drowning orbs and like buffs expire 100% faster, like reflect, double reflect is just removing percent of your life on hit, awakener's desolation. Like nobody likes these mods, and the maps are like rippy enough. Like the new mobs in these maps are so dangerous. Like sometimes you just randomly get one-shotted by like a beam from off screen. This is like, and then like on top of the T17 mods, I just feel like these T16.5 maps they're just needlessly difficult for no reason and not in an entertaining way either. It's just like very overpowered mods and overpowered monsters as well. So that's like my major complaint with that. But yeah, I think if the memory maps were balanced a little bit better and the T17 mods were removed, then I think it could actually be like a fun addition to the end game. So yeah. Then moving on, we have Trarthus Gems. So there's been like a couple Trarthus Gems added. I have some of these here. In my opinion, a lot of these completely missed the mark. A lot of these gems just have like downsides that are so bad that you would never use them. Like chain hook does no damage unless you break the chain by moving away. Like what is that? Like Sunder just does less damage. Wave of Conviction, like you can only have one. Dark Pact, you have to cast seven times to use it. Like Heavy Strike, you have to like scale spell damage and like intelligence, and then like how do you get like attack speed with that? I don't know. It's like all these gems have like such severe downsides in the ways that you have to build them that is so bad. And in my opinion, like basically all of these gems are completely like unusable because of the downsides. And like I don't really know like what the main idea is behind like Triple G's love for downsides. It seems like in everything that they implement, there has to be downsides, you know? Like, and I don't really understand that personally. Like this is a video game, you know? Like why does a video game have to have downsides everywhere? You know, like can we just get some upsides? You know, so not really too sure what was going on with the Trarthus Gems. Maybe these were like rejected alt quality gems, like reject alt quality gems from like way long ago. So yeah, not a big fan of these. Maybe like one or two of these is actually playable, but the majority is just not very exciting. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they were just rejected alt quality gems from like a year ago. So yeah, not a big fan of that. Anyway, moving on, we have settlers. So this was interesting. So the town being fully upgraded at the start is good in my opinion. And then they also reworked it such that the maximum level of the dudes is level 5. And the town is like fully upgraded, so you can like recruit them right away. And that's the main rework. And then also weapon enchantments are gone and they're replaced with rune grafts, which are basically like this. You just replace a mastery skill with like some random bonus. In my opinion, this rework was like making the town fully upgraded at the start was good. Making the maximum level 5 was good as well. But I think that the gold and rune grafts and like shipping system overall is just way too punishing. For example, just to throw some numbers out there, like with regard to rune grafts, which you get with shipments, like if you like they changed the minimum shipment to be 50k, right? And that basically means you cannot farm rune grafts by sending small shipments. Previously, you were able to like farm runes by doing like very, very small shipments over and over again. But you can't do it anymore because the minimum is 50k. So if you're constantly sending out 50k shipments, you'll just have nothing left. And like for perspective, I have like basically farmed like 36 challenges. I played like many hours every day and I still don't even have like 25 mil. I don't know what's going on with like the balance here if this loads. So like this is how much I basically sent like 0 shipments the whole league, right? And if you like add up all my stuff that I got with like I've been running my town nonstop. I've been like farming ore nonstop. I had like level 5 dudes in every single station. And I still only have like 26 mil, which is like not even that much. Like it would take you 2 weeks like farming, you know, this game, farming the settlers mechanic. It would take you 2 weeks, 10 to 16 hours a day to do a single 50 mil shipment. So is worthless, you know? And like, you know, I'm kind of curious what this would give me, but I mean, like farming 2 weeks for a 50 mil shipment is just way too long. And that's like 10 hours a day as well. Not to mention the gold costs, which I also want to get into. And like if you send a small shipment, you don't get like any rune crafts either. So like if you send like a 50k shipment, you don't get any rune crafts. So you have to send a big one. But then like you just don't get enough resources. And the gold is totally oppressive as well. Like here I have like level 5 and everywhere. And as you can see here, my disenchanting is empty. My mapping is not running. My miners are not working. The only thing I have here is smelting and farming. I have level 5 everywhere here and here, farming and smelting. But like I have no miners, no mappers, no disenchanters, and no shippers. And my upkeep is 25,000 per hour, which is like so crazy. And like if I do a map, I only get like 5 to 10k gold, which is the exact same as like last league, usually around like 6k gold because I'm not a Magic Find character. So yeah, you just feel so penalized. Like you never have enough gold, and re-rolling and like farming the level 5 dudes is also so expensive. Like it costs you 20,000 gold to like roll one time, and then hiring the dude costs like even more thousands as well. So you just never have enough gold to do anything, and then respecking is also pretty bad. Like if I want to do Faustus respec, like if I want to remove one ascendancy point, I can't even do it. Let me demonstrate. Let's get all this. So like if I want to respec one ascendancy point, it's 70,000 gold. Like what is that? 70,000 gold for one ascendancy point respec? It's ridiculous. And like one normal respec is like, what is this? 10,000 gold? Like 12,000 gold to respec 1 point? Like it's ridiculous. So in my opinion, the gold rebalance is very bad. I think the town cost is extreme. And like if I wanted to engage in mapping and mining and shipping, I would have like 100k upkeep per hour, which like I don't even know if I can even get that just playing the game for an hour straight. Like the cost exceeds the amount that you can earn in SSF. So like in my opinion, the gold balance is just completely terrible. They need to make everything like 10 times cheaper, and then maybe it would be fun. But like even for a no-lifer like me, I found this gold balance to be extremely bad. And then yeah, rune grafts. I think the idea of rune grafts is cool, but you just cannot get these fast enough. Like you need to do like a big shipment to get these, and then you have like no resources left. And it's just, I don't know. I just feel like the investment to get the rune grafts is so high, and the gold is so expensive, and the impact of the rune graft is like so small that it's just never worth it. There are some rune grafts that are really good for specific builds, which is even more frustrating in SSF because you have to like spend a lot of gold and time to farm the rune grafts, and you might just never get the one you want. So yeah, definitely not happy with that system. I think it needs like a balance patch or something. Okay, anyway, moving on, we have Betrayal. So this was another big thing that was changed. Basically what happened is that the board no longer resets, although there is some weird board shuffling mechanic that was introduced as well. But the main idea is that the board doesn't reset anymore. And then every time you do a safe house, you have a chance to drop a Katarina invitation. And in my experience, it's like every 10 safe houses, you get one. And then, yeah, that's basically it. And then tier 4 safe houses are gone, and it's just tier 3 safe houses. So in my opinion, the rework wasn't really that big of a rework. Like, let me see if I can pull this up here. So like there is still, what do I want to pull up? Yeah, so here is like a betrayal cheat sheet, right? So like this is like a 3.26 betrayal cheat sheet. Like in my opinion, basically nothing changed. Like in order to play this optimally, you basically just do Gravicious transportation for div cards, and that's basically it. I mean, some other ones are good as well, but most of these are very low impact and really only useful for like challenges. So like when I was farming Betrayal, like once I got the hang of it, it was basically just Gravicious transportation, and everyone else just try to get safe houses, like intelligence. So, you know, it was still like not the most interesting thing ever. And they also really reduced the intelligence that you get as well. It's a lot harder to get safe house intelligence now, and it takes a lot longer to get safe houses in general. So I don't know how I feel about that system. Like, it felt like I was still playing exactly the same Betrayal as before, just Gravicious transportation and then everyone else whatever, except safe houses were more rare and Katarina was a lot more rare. And yeah, you can basically, if you're playing SSF, just expect to like never get anything good from Katarina ever, because it's like so rare, and not a big fan of that. The thing that I am a big fan of actually though is that the unveils got moved to map progression. And this change I think was actually good. I was initially concerned that like important crafts like PDPS were gonna be like, locked behind like very high tier maps or something, but I think the progression was actually pretty good. I always felt like I had my crafts when I needed them, and like not needing to unveil one by one was really big quality of life. And basically now you can basically skip Betrayal completely at League Start. And if you play any good League Start build, you can like easily get to red maps in like day 1 or day 2. And then at that point you'll have unlocked everything and you can just like craft those onto your gear, which is really good. And you don't have to invest into Betrayal at all if you don't want to. So the Unveil rework I think was good. The Betrayal rework as a whole I think was like a net neutral. And then moving on, we have meta. So yeah, I mean, I don't even have to say anything here. Let's just go ahead and pull up PoE Ninja. PoE Ninja, Mercenaries, SSF. Like, do I even need to say anything here? Like, come on. I feel like after a 1 year wait, they could have balanced, the game a little bit better. Like, maybe they could have buffed underutilized skills. Like, maybe they could have buffed the 99% of underutilized skills. But instead, they just did like a big nerf to like the most popular skills. I don't know. Every league is just a bunch of nerfs and not very many buffs. So I don't agree with this philosophy of balance. Like when you're repeatedly nerfing builds that survive and not buffing anything meaningfully, it just, I don't know. It creates kind of a toxic environment where every league you just have less options. And we definitely see this here. Like 33% of the meta is Berserkers, and like 1/4 of all people are playing Snaking, and the rest is just like Slams and RF, Pkong. Like, what is this meta? Like, this is one of the worst metas I've ever seen in SSF. It's completely terrible. And there's basically no exciting skill in the top like 20. So definitely not a big fan of this meta. I feel like we need a big meta shakeup. And for some reason, they refuse to do it. And then next league, it'll be the same thing. Next league, Fissure will be nerfed. Next league, Earth Shatter will be nerfed. And they will continue to refuse to buff any underutilized skill. And we'll just have like even less options than before. And then next league is going to be like 50% of people playing RF and Pconk or something like that. So not a big fan of the way they're approaching balance. If I were them, I would take the bottom 99% of skills that nobody plays and just like find some way to increase the damage of them by 300%. Like take freaking like Burning Arrow and give it like some crazy mechanic. Like it covers the whole screen and like burning balls or something and just like increase the damage by like 300%. And then maybe that would be good and breathe some more life into this meta. So yeah, not a big fan of the meta. And then future of the game. So this was another thing that I wanted to talk about briefly. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's very subjective, but I've been no-lifing every league in this game since like 3.13. And I feel like this league has had the least hype of all leagues. And what do I mean by this? I mean like the overall sentiment of people posting on Reddit, the overall vibe of the YouTube videos that are released, the number of non-PoE people that come to play this game, the number of non-PoE streamers that come to check the game out, the general sentiment among streamers, how many streamers there are to watch. Like, I just felt like there wasn't very much hype or excitement overall for this league. And I suspect the reason is just that, they kind of didn't do anything for the game for like 1 year. So like a lot of people lost interest. And now that PoE 2 is out, if you're like a non-PoE player, you don't really have an incentive to play PoE 1. Like I cannot imagine a new player today going like, I'm going to play PoE 1 and I'm going to make PoE 1 my main game. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't really happen anymore, right? Maybe it happens every now and then, but like what I'm saying is like 5 years ago, PoE 1 was like the pinnacle of ARPGs. And if you played it, you felt like you were a part of something, you felt like you were on the frontier of innovation and ARPGs, and you wanted to learn the game, you wanted to practice, you wanted to get good, and, you know, you felt like you were a part of something, you know? But now PoE 1, I feel like just lives in the shadow of PoE 2, and there's like a lot of balance flaws and bad mechanics in PoE 1 that will probably never be addressed anymore, honestly, or they'll never be fixed. And I just can't imagine too many new players will be excited to pick up PoE 1 today in the shadow of PoE 2 and make it their main game. So I feel like this sentiment, you know, can kind of be felt like throughout the community. It's just that, like, you know, I've been a part of a lot of league starts, and I feel like every league start before this one had like so much more hype, so much more streamers, you know, so many more viewers on Twitch for all the different streamers. It was like a lot more exciting. I definitely feel like this league, you know, kind of just did not hit as hard as previous leagues. But that's my personal opinion, you know. That's just my personal opinion. It could also be that I'm getting older and hack maxing, and it could be that, you know, because I'm getting older, it's just like less exciting to me. You know, you'll have to let me know what you think, but in my opinion, the overall hype and like sentiment for PoE has like, it is like kind of low now compared to before, but whatever, that's just how I feel. And maybe different people will feel differently about this topic. So yeah, you know, we'll have to see, you know, we'll have to see what happens with PoE 1. I initially thought maybe PoE 1 would like make a big comeback and kind of branch off into its own community like old school RuneScape. But now it's looking like it'll become more like a Diablo 2, like a very niche thing enjoyed by like a very small subset of people over time. But that's just my thoughts, you know, it's whatever. And then finally we have Smokey's overall league rating so far. And if I had to rate all of these changes, if I had to like, you know, group together all of these in one cohesive rating, I would say after 1 week of playing Mercenaries League, I would say, I would say it's a 5 out of 10. I would say it's 5. It's like not terrible, but it's like not great either, you know? I would say it's like a 5 out of 10. There's like some potential here, but I don't feel like the potential was like adequately explored. I say it's 5 out of 10. But you'll have to let me know what you think as well, because that is the end of the video. But yeah, that's my 1 week update in this league. Yep. Let me know what you think about any of these topics or issues. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If any of you guys play SSF, I'm also curious to hear like what you think about like these changes with regard to SSF in particular. Do you agree with my takes or do you disagree? You know, let me know what you think. But that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Yep.